Hi, this is the part in Act 1 where Cyrano hasn't appeared yet, and people there at the audience are talking about him. And Ragueneau has come and said that Montfleury will probably perform, and he hopes that Cyrano doesn't see, or else there will be trouble. And then, so Ragueneau says, "That is what I've come to see." And then the Marquis says, "Who is this Cyrano?" Quiji, who's there. We haven't really covered some of these characters. That's okay. They're not main characters that we have to know every detail about. Quiji, a fellow who certainly knows how to handle a sword. Second Marquis, is he of noble birth? Quiji, noble enough. He's a cadet in the guards. So that might be something that you weren't really sure of. He's also a soldier. He points to a gentleman who's going up and down the halls of searching for someone. So this is Lebray. But his friend Lebray over there, remember Lebray, can tell you more about him. And then he calls him, Lebray, Lebray, are you looking for Cyrano? Yes, and I'm beginning to worry. He's an extraordinary man, isn't he? He is the rarest, most delightful man on earth. A poet, says Ragueneau. A soldier, a philosopher, a musician, and such a striking appearance. Suddenly they're talking about what he looks like. So Ragueneau goes on and talks about Cyrano. No painter today can do him justice. Only the wild and whimsical Jacques Callot, who is a famous artist at the time, if he were still alive, could have painted Cyrano's portrait. He'd have placed him in some fantastic setting and made Cyrano the maddest fighter there, with his triple-plumed hat and six-tailed jacket and his sword sticking up beneath his coat like a proud tail of a rooster. He is a true swashbuckler, as bold as the fiercest soldier in Gascony. Gascony is an area in France. Above his collar he carries a nose. And my good lords, what a nose it is! When people see it, they immediately think it's a false nose. They think it's a joke, and that soon Cyrano will take it off. But alas, Cyrano never takes it off. Lebray, throwing back his head. True, he keeps it on and will maim any man who dares to remark on it. So no one's allowed to talk about Cyrano's nose, except for Cyrano. Ragueneau. His sword is one half the shears of fate. He won't come, says the Marquis. I say he will come, and I'll wager you a chicken a la Ragueneau. So Ragueneau, remember, he's a pastry chef, so he's betting. He's gonna come. Then in comes Roxane. So there's murmurs of admiration all around the hall, and Roxane just appeared in her box. And she seats herself in front with her duenna. And then Christian, who was paying the buffet girl's another name for orange girl, and he doesn't see that Roxane has come in. Ah, gentlemen, she is exquisite, adorable, ravishing. So we're talking about Roxane. She's as sweet as a peach smiling at a strawberry, and so fresh and cool, any man approaching her might catch a chill at the heart. Christian, raising his head, he sees Roxane and catches Linaire by the arm. It is she. Ah, is it she? Yes, quickly tell me her name. Oh, I am afraid. Linaire. Remember, Linaire has been drinking because he got wine from the orange girl, and so he's getting a little bit intoxicated. Madeleine Robin, called Roxane. She's witty, charming, quite an intellectual. Woe is me, says Christian. Unmarried, an orphan, the cousin of Cyrano, whom we were just speaking about. So the main thing that Christian is upset about is that Roxane is an intellectual. And remember, Christian is a beautiful man, very handsome, and he's nice, but he's just not that bright. He's not as witty as some of the people around him. Then he sees a man come into the box next to Roxane. And Christian says, who is that man? He's alarmed, right? And then Linaire responds, and he's becoming tipsy, and he winks at him. That's Comte de Guiche. Remember, de Guiche is the bad guy. He's in love with her, but he happens to be married to the niece of Armand de Richelieu. So if any of you watch my bonus material, you'll know who Richelieu is. He ran the French Academy. So it becomes very important to respect who Richelieu is. Wants to set Roxane up with a certain sorry fellow by the name of Valvert, a Viscount. Why Valvert? Because he's very accommodating, if you get my meaning. She won't agree to it, of course, but De Guiche is powerful and can persecute a girl like her. I myself have actually composed a song in which I expose his nasty little plan. Oh, he must hate me. The end really hits home. Listen, and then he stands up to give this song that he will expose who De Guiche is. So Linier, remember, is about to be killed by 100 men because he exposed some truth about somebody. It's actually De Guiche who he has exposed, and De Guiche has sent 100 men to kill him. Remember at the end, Cyrano hears about his friend Linier, that he's about to meet his fate with 100 men. And Cyrano says, oh, don't worry about it. You go home and rest well. I will fight them off. Remember, he's an excellent swordsman. At this time, Christian says, no, I'm leaving. Linier says, where are you going? It turns out Roxane looks at Christian. And then Linier says, I got to go to the tavern. You better stay here with and watch and see what happens with Roxane. This is the part in Act 1 where the meddler has been giving Cyrano a hard time for stopping Montfleury from being on the stage. And Cyrano basically kicks him away. And then Cyrano says, here's a word of advice for any other fool who might find something amusing about the middle of my face. Let it be known that if the jester is a nobleman, he will not just taste my boot, but will taste my steel instead. Then De Guiche, he is becoming a nuisance. He's quite arrogant. Won't anyone silence him? I'll take the challenge. I'll treat him to one of my quips. See here. With a conceited air, he goes up to Cyrano, who is watching him. Sir, your nose is, it is very big. Very? Ha! Is that all? What do you mean? No, young man. That was a trifle short. You might have said at least 100 things by varying the tone. Shall I give you a few examples? Then here he gives this great monologue, where it's one person just talking the whole time, of different examples of how to give an insult. So Cyrano says, aggressive. He even names what kind of insult it is. Aggressive. Sir, if I had such a nose, I'd amputate it. Friendly. It must annoy you when it dips into your drink. You really should have a specially shaped goblet, I think. Descriptive. 'Tis a rock, a peak, a cape, a peninsula. Curious. What is the purpose of that large container? Do you keep your pens and ink in it? Gracious. Oh, how you must love the birds. I see you've made them a nice perch for their tiny feet. Hostile. When you enjoy your pipe and the smoke spouts from your nose, the neighbors must think the chimney's on fire. Considerate. When you stroll, keep your head bowed low, else head over heels you just might go. Tender. Oh, someone please get a small umbrella made, else the sun, its bright color, might fade. The poor nose. Pedantic. Only such a beast as Aristophanes, Hippocampacapacapaka, could have possessed such a large lump of flesh and bone beneath its forehead. Flippant. What a fashionable hook to hang your hat on. Emphatic. No wind but the Arctic blast could be strong enough to give you a cold, O majestic nose. Dramatic. When it bleeds, it's like the Red Sea. Admiring. Oh, what a perfect sign for a perfume shop. Lyrical. Is that a conch, and you a Triton? Simple. Is that monument open for public viewing? Rustic. Is that thing a nose? No, it must be a dwarf pumpkin or a prize watermelon. Military. Aim that cannon at the enemy and blast away. Practical. Put it on the lottery. I'm sure it would be the biggest prize. Or, in a parody of Pyramus, behold the nose that mars the beauty of its owner's face. How red with shame it is. the traitor. Then he says, all of these things you might have said if you were a man of wit and letters in the slightest, but sadly of wit you never had an atom, and of letters you only have 3, and they spell ASS. And even if you were intelligent enough to think of witty remarks like the ones I just listed, you would not have been able to utter a single one of them, because I allow such jokes only when spoken by myself, and never by any other man that breathes. Whoa. So now these guys are trying to get out of there, but they still haven't had their duel. So De Guiche is trying to leave, and then de Valvert is giving him a hard time and saying he doesn't even wear gloves. And Cyrano responds, and he's like, yeah, no, I like truth. I like honor. Those things are important to me. And then he says he doesn't wear gloves, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, I will. Oh, where is it? I will. You shall have a charming little stroke. Yes, a poet, sir. And to demonstrate my skills, I will compose a ballade as we fight. So he's saying, I'm going to write a poem while we fight, while we have a duel. A ballade? Do you not know what a ballade is? But know then that a ballade should contain 3 8-versed couplets. So he's explaining poetry to Valvert, really being condescending to him. And then he explains a little bit more about it, and he says, I'll make one as we fight, and on the last line, I shall thrust my sword home, meaning I will kill you at the end. And de Valvert says, no, Ballade of the Duels, de Bergerac, and a fool here in the Hotel Burgundy. And de Valvert is surprised, and he says, what is that? Oh, that's the title. Quiet, make room, fair play. So everybody's saying, wait, they're going to fight, so let's move along. And then here's Cyrano's ballade. It's not quite as interesting as his insult speech, but it's amazing how he would do this off the cuff. So then here is his speech. I'm not actually going to cover this right now, but you can always come back and read this.